Endure and survive.
Welcome once again, my fellow manipulators of digital fate. I'm Richie, this is Capricorn, and today we're back at it with another standard deck tech straight out of Aether Drift Standard, but this one's a little bit special. This is called Endure and Survive, and it's inspired by a recent Pro Tour deck submission by none other than 𝑇𝑒𝑟𝑟𝑎𝑐ℎ. So shout out to Corey for inspiring this brew, but our version takes it a step further. We found a card that I don't think Corey thought of, and it really turns this deck up to 11, especially when it comes to the best of one ranked ladder, which this deck performs insanely well on. So I'm really excited to just break down all of the new ideas that I have for this deck and just how crazy it is. Before we do, please like the video. It helps me get it out to so many more people and helps the channel grow, and I would appreciate it so much. Also subscribe if you're new, because I have a ton of crazy decks coming, and I promise they're not all 𝑀𝑎𝑟𝑑𝑢. This is the third 𝑀𝑎𝑟𝑑𝑢 deck in a row, but I promise we have other decks coming down the line. I have some pretty crazy ideas. It just so happens that 𝑀𝑎𝑟𝑑𝑢 has been speaking to me lately and really inspiring me, so we followed my gut and we went where the inspiration took us, and this deck is bananas. Also, catch me live Monday through Friday over on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/quarantinecapricorn, because if I'm alive and I'm breathing, I'm there and I'm streaming. Let's break this thing down. So this deck is pretty wild. First of all, a huge shout out to 𝑇𝑒𝑟𝑟𝑎𝑐ℎ for coming up with this idea and bringing it to the Pro Tour. It really inspired me to try to take his brew and dig even deeper, coming up with my own brew, and I do think we have a few modifications that are pretty wild that I'll get to in just a little bit. But first of all, the core of the deck revolves around Monument to Endurance, a 3-mana artifact. Whenever we discard a card, we either get to draw a card, create a treasure token, or make each opponent lose 3 life. We can choose each of those once each turn. But what's important to note about this card is you can choose it once on your turn, and then if you discard on their turn, you can choose the same option again on their turn. So what we really want to do is get 2 Monument to Endurances out on the battlefield at the same time. Discard a card on our turn, they lose 6 life. Discard a card on their turn, they lose 6 life. Discard another card on our turn, they lose another 6 life, a whopping 18 life lost in one full turn cycle. And if we can pull that off, then we pretty much just win the game outright. So we're trying to just survive as long as possible, throw as much fodder in front of our opponent, make it hard for them to take us out of the game, use a ton of control elements to control the board, and then when we finally get that second Monument to Endurance online, we just go completely ham and win the game outright. And it's absolutely absurd. And on the way to doing that, we can just draw a ton of cards with Monument to Endurance, especially if we do get that second copy out. And there's a few different ways we can get multiple copies. But before we talk about that, I want to talk about the most important discard outlet in the deck and the reason we're playing white. And that's Guardian of New Benalia, a 2/2 human soldier for 2 mana. It has the enlist ability, and when it does enlist a creature, you do get to scry 2, which is nice extra value. But the most important part of this card is you discard a card and this creature gains indestructible until end of turn, but you have to tap it as a side effect of that ability. That's not really a problem. It's cool with Guardian because if we need to get in for some extra damage, we can be aggressive with it, but mostly we can hold this back as a blocker, hold off our opponent's aggression, and constantly discard when we need to in order to keep it alive, while also keeping it on the board as a constant discard outlet that doesn't cost us any mana whatsoever. So when we do finally get both of our Monument to Endurances on the battlefield, we're able to just spam discards, 2 on our turn, 2 on their turn, just go completely ham and do like 18 damage over the course of one turn cycle. It's just insane. But how are we getting multiple copies of Monument to Endurance on the battlefield? First of all, we run 3 copies of the Mycosynth Gardens. This is a land that you might have forgotten about. It's almost going to rotate in like 6 months, but it has an ability where you can pay X and tap it to make it a copy of target non-token artifact you control with mana value X. So, if we have a monument out already, we can pay 3, tap the Mycosynth Gardens, create a second monument, and if we have the Guardian of New Benalia down, it doesn't even matter if we tap out to do that because we have the free discard outlet. So we just start pitching cards. Usually we pitch a card to draw 2 more so that we have more things to discard to trigger the rest of our abilities, make them lose 6 life, and then lose 6 life on their turn and 6 life again on our turn. It's just absolutely insane. But we have another way of getting multiple copies of Monument to Endurance in this deck, and this is the spice that I figured out to add to this deck that wasn't in the original version that I saw at the Pro Tour, and that's Reckless Handling. You guys probably forgot about this card. It's one of the uncommons that was in the March of the Machine, the Aftermath expansion. If you remember that little mini set that they put out, it's just 2 mana, 1 red and 1 for a sorcery. You search your library for an artifact card, reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle, then discard a card at random. If an artifact card was discarded this way, Reckless Handling deals 2 damage to each opponent. This helps us in a few different ways. First of all, it's so easy to tutor up a second copy of Monument to Endurance. Also, because we have to discard something when we play this, even though we don't get to pick what we discard, we still get the value off of Monument. So if we already have 1 Monument in play, or maybe even 2, we're still getting that value off of discarding, even if we discard the thing that we didn't really want to discard that we wanted to keep. But in this deck, we have so many ways of getting things that we discarded back from the graveyard that a lot of times if we discard the thing we search for, it's actually a good thing. Sometimes we can get those cards out even cheaper by having them be the thing that we discard. So if Reckless Handling discards our Monument to Endurance, it's fine because we have Recommission. 2 mana, 1 white and 1 for a sorcery, return target artifact or creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. If a creature enters this way, it enters with an additional +1/+1 counter. So, if we discard a Monument to Endurance, whether it's to Reckless Handling or to one of our other many discard outlets, we could just get it back with Recommission for even less mana than it would have cost us to play the Monument to Endurance to begin with, which is just crazy. The entire rest of the deck consists of ways to discard cards, ways to get back the things that we're discarding, and then a bunch of control elements to keep our opponent's board at bay while we set ourselves up for the combo finish. So, first of all, 3 copies of Zoraline Cosmos Caller. We can use this in a similar fashion to Recommission, where we can use its ability when it enters or attacks, pay 2 mana in the colors of Orzhov and 2 life, return any non-land permanent card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. Now we're going to need a total of 5 mana in order to trigger that when we play it, which is a bit much and sometimes it dies to removal. But if we could just get one of these out and then swing in and trigger this ability, we can bring back the Monument to Endurance that way. Or, like I said, if we get to 5 mana, we can just pay that mana as we play it, get back a Monument to Endurance, or a bunch of other cards in the deck too. There's so many targets for Zoraline, it's absolutely nuts. We can even recommission a Zoraline, and then when Zoraline enters from the graveyard, it will trigger its ability, pay 2 more, to still bring back a Monument to Endurance. So for only 4 mana, we get back the Zoraline and the Monument in the same turn. We can do some pretty crazy, pretty ridiculous lines. We're also running 1 copy of Alesha. It's not necessarily a way we can bring back Monument to Endurance, but we can bring back the Zoralines. And there's a bunch of other cards we can get back with Alesha over time as well, like the Guardian of New Benalia. So I do think it's worth playing 1 copy, especially when we're going to constantly be discarding things into the graveyard that we do want to bring back. There will almost always be a target for Alesha, with Zoraline obviously being the best one. We're also running 1 copy of Phyrexian Dragon Engine. This isn't the most mana efficient way to get to a win, but there is a line where you can search up the Phyrexian Dragon Engine with Reckless Handling, discard it, get it into the graveyard, or even if you don't discard it to the Reckless Handling, find another way to discard it to one of our other discard outlets. And then Phyrexian Dragon Engine has an Unearth ability. We can just pay 5 mana from the graveyard, have it enter from the graveyard, and when it does enter from the graveyard, you may discard your hand, and if you do, draw 3 cards. So it's another way to discard our whole hand, trigger all of our Monument to Endurances, but this time, redraw 3 cards to replace whatever we discard, which is just really insane value that we can get out of Phyrexian Dragon Engine. And it's also a 3-drop. So we don't necessarily even have to use the Unearth ability. What we could do is just bring back the Phyrexian Dragon Engine with the Recommission or with the Zoraline, and it's still going to trigger because it technically still entered from the graveyard. We're still going to discard our hand and draw 3 cards, and it can be absolutely bananas. The last 3-drop I want to talk about is Liliana of the Veil. Just an excellent control piece that also gives us another free discard outlet. So 3 Loyalty Planeswalker for 3 mana. We can uptick each player discards a card. So not only do we get to discard for free and trigger our monuments, but we get to make them discard in the process as well. And until we get to that point where we want to do that, this can come down and be creature removal, because on, with -2 loyalty, target player sacrifices a creature, which is what we want to do. We want to keep their entire board at bay while we set up for our double Monument to Endurance, which is really, really nice. I also want to point out that with Reckless Handling, if you do discard an artifact, it deals 2 damage. So a lot of times if you get lucky and you discard an artifact to the Reckless Handling, you put them at 18 life, which is the perfect amount to take them out in 1 turn cycle if you have 2 Monument to Endurances on the battlefield, because they lose 6 on your turn, and then they lose 6 on their turn, and then they lose 6 on your turn again, and they're dead. Just really, really perfect. Just so many crazy perfect lines. But we also have just 1 copy of Helping Hand. Now, this isn't as good as Recommission. We can't use this to bring back Monument to Endurance, but it is only 1 mana, and it sort of is like a 5th copy of Recommission in this deck. Even though we can't bring back the Monument to Endurance, we can, for just 1 mana, bring back a Zoraline, and then immediately pay the other 2 to trigger its ability to bring back a Monument. So for a total of 3 mana, we get our Zoraline back and our Monument back, and that can be a pretty crazy line. I don't want to go overboard with too many copies of Helping Hand, because if we are in a pinch and just need to get back the Monument, Helping Hand won't do that. But I think it's worth adding 1 copy here. Like I said, almost like it's a 5th copy of Recommission. It can still do a lot of work. Moving on to the 2-drop slot, we have a few important cards. First of all, we have our removal package. In addition to those 3 copies of Liliana at the 3-drop slot, we have 3 Harvester of Miseries, which we can discard for 2 mana to give something -2/-2. We can use this as early removal to keep the opponent's board at bay. But also, if we already have Monuments to Endurance out, discarding it for the removal mode is going to trigger our Monuments and give us value off of our Monuments, which is really, really nice. In similar fashion, we have 3 Bitter Triumphs, because as an additional cost to cast it, we can discard a card or pay 3 life. So it's another way to, if we need to kill a guy anyway, but we also need to discard and trigger our Monuments, this is a way to do both in the same card. We can discard whatever we need in the graveyard, maybe something we want to get back with a Zoraline or a Recommission or Alesha, while still killing that key card we need to kill to help us survive a turn or 2 longer to get all of our craziness set up. We're also running 4 copies of Fear of Missing Out. This just serves so many functions. It comes down, it lets us discard when we play it, which is nice. It draws a card to replace it so that we can dig deeper into our deck, and then it gives us a 2/3 body that sits on the battlefield so that if we need to hold off aggro, at the very least it's a chump blocker. But also, if we're up against control, we can be aggressive with Fear of Missing Out. It's pretty easy to get to Delirium in this deck and start swinging in for multiple attacks, especially if we get another creature on board as well, something that's a little bit beefier that can benefit more from the second attack. We can sort of pivot to being a somewhat aggressive deck against control, which is really, really nice. But even just having a discard outlet that gives us something to just block in the meantime, I think is worth it on its own. And then we've also got 1 copy of Inti here. It's legendary, so I only wanted to run 1, but it is a really good free discard outlet. Whenever we attack, we get to discard once for free, and then put a +1/+1 counter on something, exile a card that we can play until end of turn. But just having that free discard outlet is super, super nice, in a similar fashion to Liliana. And of course, Guardian of New Benalia being the best one, because it's reusable as many times as we want, even on our opponent's turn, which is just crazy. So that's pretty much the deck. Honestly, I kind of love it. I feel like there's an even better version of this deck that I've yet to figure out, but as I play with it more and more and more, I'm going to start to test newer versions of this, and I'm really excited just at how deep this can go, how far we can take this deck. But even just this version of it is absolutely nuts, and I really think the Reckless Handling goes a long way to shoring up a lot of the problems that the original version of this deck had, at least in best of 1. And that's the important thing to note here. I think Corey's version for best of 3 was probably the superior version, but in best of 1, when our opponent doesn't see what we're doing coming, it is so easy to just take over the game and win out of nowhere with multiple copies of Monument, and it's so easy to get to multiple copies with Reckless Handling. So I think it's absolutely worth including. If you want to know what the land base is, it is in the description in the deck list, so check that out. But without further ado, we got to check out these games. This actually looks pretty good. We can keep this. We're going to need to get a little bit lucky with drawing some stuff. Backstreet, set up our draw. Monument. Yeah, we'll keep you. We'll go, Inspiring Vantage. We'll grab another Monument. And one of them is dumped. Alright. That should be fine. Plays a Carrot Cake. Well, we'll go Blackcleave Cliffs. Play a Monument. Want to make sure we can get that out to, before we fear of missing out. And now we just need to dig. Dig for enablers. Discard a land. I guess draw a card. So many possibilities here. We're going to play the Reckless Handling. Find another Monument. Discard the Helping Hand. Make them lose life. Pass the turn. What else you got for me? What else you got for me? Ooh, a Zoraline. I like that. But we need to be able to discard. Let's do this. Guardian of New Benalia. We've got a land, a sorcery, and an artifact. Don't want to put the creature in there, unfortunately. Create a treasure. Ghost vacuum the monument. Sure. I guess we play out the Monument. I was going back and forth between Monument and Zoraline, because it would be really good to get the Zoraline out, and then next turn drop the Monument, swing with Zoraline if we have a fifth land, and do the thing. Alright, end the turn. Do we want to discard the Zoraline in order to draw 2 cards? He's going to Ghost Vacuum it. Although I guess Zoraline isn't as useful right now because he has Ghost Vacuum. Carrot Cake, sure. What does he target? A monument? Well, we'll discard and draw. And then we'll discard. I guess Bitter Triumph. To drain for 6. And then we'll let him resolve it. So if we could survive one turn cycle, we can still have lethal with just the one monument. Paw Patch formation goes away. Carrot cake, sure. Sure. Zoraline. That's a bummer. I think we just win. How about we just win? Let's just win. Discard. Draw. Draw. We'll just win. Discard. Drain. Drain. Pass the turn. Put a stop. And then we kill him. We will draw, though, just to be safe. Anything at instant speed, friend? Doesn't look it. So we'll make them lose 6. And is that it? It's over. It is over. What are you doing? Nothing. We'll keep this. Alright, we're going to start with, I guess, Fabled Passage. And we'll find a swamp. I don't know if we want a Reckless Handling until after we have Monument to Endurance in play. I'm worried we get rid of our Alesha and we don't get any value off the Monument to Endurance. Let's do this. Zoraline, sure. We'll get the Monument to Endurance out. And then we'll start going ham. It'll be a lot easier. Come on, mountain. Island. That's another thing we could do, Angel. That's true. I mean, I have to face that all the time. People potentially cheating. I mean, I guess we just Monument, right? And we're not going to be able to block. So better to get in for 2 and get him to 18. Discard a card. Exile something. Hit me for 3. He's got a Strix Lookout. What is this deck? Sunbillow Verge. Sunbillow. Right. Grab another monument. Discard a card. Ends up being an Alesha. Create a treasure. Play another monument. And swing because we're not going to block. Now we're in a pretty strong position. We need to be able to discard. We make treasures. We play Zoraline. We bring back Alesha. Or we just get the discard triggers just going non-stop. Monument. You've got a monument yourself. How wonderful. Just need a way to discard. Oh, Brotherhood's End. Nice. Do we get down the Zoraline? Or do we play the monument? You know what? I think neither.
This is my home, and I don't appreciate it when people sacrifices must be made.
No attacks. We're going to hold up the blocker to protect Liliana. Because if we can play Monument and then uptick Liliana, we'll be in pretty good shape, I think. Let's see what he exiles. 𝐿𝐻𝐻𝐿𝐻𝐻𝐿. 𝐿𝐻𝐻𝐿𝐻𝐻. Best get 𝐿𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐿. Oh, it has trample. I forgot it gives trample. Oopsie. I'm gonna be honest, I'm fucking tired and I just want this stream to be over. And I'm just like hell-bent on getting to Diamond first. So I'm making a lot of problems. So we could recommission. Guess we gotta play this. Hey Brad, thanks for subbing with Prime. I appreciate you, my friend. Gonna get some celebration in the chat for Brad. You're a hero. You're a damn hero, Brad. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. So now we should be able to attack, trigger Zoraline, and use Recommission, which is kind of rad. So we can recommission the monument. There's actually a lot we can do. I mean, he's just going to wipe the board with Brotherhood's End, right? But we have to make him. We have to make him have to do it. So that he can't hold on to it for our monuments. Do it. Do it, old maid. Do it. Do it. Do it. That's what I thought. Recommission Zoraline. Auto pay. Go to 4. But what do we want to bring back? Guess Lily. So that we can -2 get rid of Inti.
Your turn. Haven't you ever heard of personal space?
Alright, boys. We're ready. We are ready. If we bring back Alesha, we get to also bring back Fear of Missing Out, which also triggers a discard. Which might be worth it. Oh shit. We needed a black and a white for Zoraline's ability. Oopsie. I guess we'll just have to do it this way.
I'm tired of your secrets.
Gain a life. Pay 2. Bring back Alesha. Trigger Alesha, bring back Fear of Missing Out, draw a card. Now all we need to do is survive, and we win. Hey, thanks, Brad. I appreciate it. I'm trying, man. I'm trying my hardest. We're doing the damn thing. We've even got the pumpkin hanging with us. Fresh pumpkin, baby. Exiled Ares. I think whatever name you decide on, you need to be that name on everything, Angel. That's the one thing I've learned. But that is a pretty sweet name. Alright, this deck's wild. Absolutely wild. Slawn. That's right, it's over. It's over. Alright, we're gonna keep this. This looks great. This is everything we want. We'll start with the Restless Vents. Gives us an attacking manland with a discard outlet. And, I mean, I think we just want to start... I think we just want to start by getting Guardian out. If we have a Monument to Endurance, we want to wait to play the Reckless Handling until after we have the first Monument to Endurance out. So we'll play the Monument. We'll just pass the turn. We can block the Yearling and then give this indestructible by discarding. Ooh, +1/+1. Don't love that. I mean, we'll still block. Because we get to prevent 2 damage. And we want to trigger our Monument anyway. Mostly be drawing cards with it. It's got the trample, so we're still going to take 4. Oh god. Another Monument. We'll just play it. We'll just play it, guys. We're gonna attack because he can be dead next turn. If he's dumb and doesn't block. Alright, we're gonna discard... I guess we just discard Queen Kayla. Draw some cards. He's pretty much just dead. Let's discard and make treasure. And then we'll play Reckless Handling. We'll grab... I mean... really anything works. Guess we'll just grab another monument. Why not? Make them lose 3. Make them lose 3. End the turn. If he doesn't kill us right here, he's dead next turn. Do it. Pay it. No? Go ahead. Discard Fear of Missing Out. First we'll draw cards so that we have more things to discard. We're gonna have to discard everything because we need to get our triggers. Piece of cake. Fabled Passage. Fetch a land. Reckless Handling. We can find... Man, there's so much we could do. I guess we just play this, right? Draw. Play it. Discard the Dragon Engine. Make them lose 3. Draw a card. Oh, I was supposed to attack. It won't matter. We put a stop. And then we just win. Discard. Draw a card. Draw a card. Discard. Lose 3. Lose 3. Good night. Good night. Can I keep this? I can't find a white source and turn on the red here. But I can find a black source and make sure that I have double black for Lily. I think we'll keep it. Oh, he passed. That's a bummer. That is a bummer. Alright, we won't have white for Recommission, which is also a bummer. But it is what it is. What would you like us to discard, sir? If it's something we can recommission, maybe we will fetch white. Like the Lily, right? No, we can't recommission the Lily. Man, he really doesn't know. He really doesn't know what he wants to get rid of. Alright. Fetch a swamp. Don't you worry. It's all gonna work out fine. Everything will be fine. I don't want to risk discarding my third land, so I'm not going to play the Reckless Handling yet. What I'm going to do is play the Fear of Missing Out and dump the Inti. Next turn, I'll play the Blazemire Verge and either the Lily, or then I'll Reckless Handling. Probably the Lily. Since he doesn't have any creatures out yet, we should be able to keep the board clear with the Lily. You worry for me. Oh, it'll be fine. Temporary lockdown. Well, Lily's not going to do a whole lot for us right now. Alright. Monument in the yard. Which means if we can get a white source, we can recommission it back into play. What do you have for me, my friend? 𝔼Ⅎ𝐻𝐿𝐼. Well, this is a good time to drop a Lily. He even knew I had Lily, so I don't know why he played 𝔼Ⅎ𝐻𝐿𝐼. Unless he's got something even better. Everything will be fine. Everything will be glorious. It's definitely running a control deck. With 𝔼Ⅎ𝐻𝐿𝐼 as a win con. Well, there's our monument. Here we go. We're off to the races. We're going to get rid of the helping hand. Draw a card. Give me a land. Nope, no land. No land for us. Legions to Ashes. That's rude. This dude's rude, man. Recommission. Get back the monument. We could Reckless Handling. But I think it would be better to do this. Draw a card. And then we'll uptick. Dump you. And we'll make you lose some life. Sounds good. We now have the ability to make him sack a creature again. He's got temporary lockdown. It only hits our fear. Oh, here we go. Pay 3. Copy the monument. Uptick. Discard the land. We will draw 2. Maybe we should have drawn 1 and made a treasure, because then we could have also played the Reckless Handling, which would have been another discard. Yeah, I think that would have been good. Alright. We're going to keep this. We don't have access to any red. But we do have Guardian on 2. And any land at all, we have Monument on 3. And that's surely a keep. Right? Surely. Surely. Alright, he plays an island. An island. How ambitious of you. Ooh. Things are looking mighty good now. We can discard the monument so that we can recommission it. We don't need to do it on his turn, though. We can do it anytime. We'll do it if we have to respond to removal or something. But otherwise, we can just wait and attack on our turn first. Storm Chaser's talent. Dump the monument. Recommission the monument. What else can we do? We need to draw, right? Let's dump Lily. Still got no red though, man. Still got no red. End the turn. We'll probably discard Reckless Handling to draw another card. We are so close. He doesn't even see it. All we have to do is land that second monument to Endurance, and he's dead. He's so dead. Okay, Kaito. Sure. You take 3.
And into the fray. Now I know your weakness.
Come on, Kaito. Bane of Nightmares. Could have drawn. I mean, that probably doesn't matter, right? In case he gains life, we'll just do this. Alright. We're going to dump the Inspiring Vantage. We're going to draw 2 cards. We're going to dump Alesha, so we're never going to have an opportunity to use it. Make some treasure tokens. Play you. And we will dump the Reckless Handling to make you lose 6. End the turn. See what he's got. We draw 2. Guardian of New Benalia. Don't like it. Draw. Draw. We have to hold on to something. Lose 3. Lose 3. Now it dies to nowhere to run. And then we bring it back with the Helping Hand so that we can finish him off next turn. Kind of some tricky play lines, to be honest. Kind of tricky. Storm Chaser's talent, just not enough. You're dead next turn, friend. You are dead next turn, friend.
I've trained with the best.
1, 2, 3. Helping Hand. Guardian. Yeah, it's over. It's over. So apparently if he concedes the game while I'm holding on to a card, I can't put it down. This looks fine. We'll keep it. Start with the Shadowy Backstreet. Do we put this in the yard? I think we want to probably draw it. There's a chance we draw into a card that can get it back out of the yard, but I don't think I want to take the chance. Fear of missing out. We'll dump the Alesha because we can get it back with Helping Hand. We definitely just want to get back these monuments as soon as possible. We'll attack as we can. Getting him down to 18 is really good. So if we get to that double monument cycle of 666, we have lethal. Alright, here's where things get nutty. We need to be able to discard. Trying to think of the correct sequence here. I think we're going to do this.
No more distractions.
Each player discards.
We all have things we'd rather forget.
If we had a creature, this would be so good. Don't think we're going to need the Bitter Triumph, so we'll just dump that. We could make a treasure token and helping hand back Alesha. But I don't think we really need to. I think we're just going to draw a card. Alright, he's going wide for Doppelgang. Again, if we could just get him down to 18, we're pretty close to having a combo win here. Alright, we will discard. Oh, brutal. Brutal.
I'm tired of your secrets.
We'll just discard Monument. That's fine. Get back Alesha. Pass the turn. I mean, even if we just get to 6 with Lily and we ultimate to take away all of his mana so that he can't Doppelgang, that might be good enough. So if he's fixated on our monuments, it's whatever, man. And if we top deck a black source, we can Zoraline and bring back the monument. Oh god. Oh god. Well, I think we're still gonna do it. Oh, we don't have the black source. We don't have the black source. Draw a card. So Alesha's in the yard. We can Zoraline to get her back if we have a black source. We've got double Lily. We've got a second Endurance in hand. It's not quite where he wants to be for Doppelgang yet, though. 5, 6, 7, 8 gives him 2. So he could make 2 copies of 2 things next turn. But if he wants to be greedier, then he's not going to be able to pull that off. Alright, we're going to discard 1 Lily. Draw. Do we make him lose life or do we draw cards? Let's draw cards for now. Keep that card count high. Alright, go ahead and Season of Weaving again. Bounce my monuments. It's fine. Everything is fine. Recommission. Recommission. We could recommission a monument. Then play Reckless Handling? No. Let's do it this way. Do we want the treasure? We don't need cards anymore. I think we need mana. So that we can play a whole bunch of stuff. Spelunking, sure. Triggers his prowess. Dude, this game's turning out wild. Glimpse the core. So he probably wants to get to 11 lands so that he can doppelgang 3/3/3. He's at 10. Thank you for the follow, Clinico. Appreciate you. Alright, so that's 7. Recommission. Another monument. Bitter Triumph. Discard a card. Treasure, treasure, treasure. Play Liliana. Discard a card.
Drop it.
Put him at 10. And we might die to the Otter right now. Yeah, he just needs to cast, what, 3 spells? Oh, he's got 𝑇𝑒𝑟𝑟𝑎𝑛𝑐𝑒. Pretty crazy. Just got a little greedy at the end there. That's fine. Alright, this is fine. We'll keep it. Lots of value to be had here. We'll start with the Backstreet, see if we can find a land. No land. We'll put Inti in the yard. Probably just play out the Guardian, turn 2. it makes a pretty damn good blocker. And if we can play out one of the... If we can discard one of our creatures to the Guardian, we can get it back with the Recommission. Which actually seems really strong. Demonic Ruckus. Sure. Well, we'll just do this. Even if one of them dies, we don't care. We have Alesha, we have Recommission. We're just going to do it like that. I don't think he sees that coming. But I don't think we're going to take so much damage from the other Swift Spear that we have to block it right now. Also, he doesn't draw a card if it dies. Turn inside out. Five, 3. So we will discard Fear of Missing Out. We will discard Alesha. And we'll kill the Swift Spear. Manifest, sure, that's fine. I'm not worried about it at all. Literally at all. We're going to swing. Going to let it through. We are going to recommission Alesha. And then that's going to bring back... full control. I don't know if we're going to have time to do it. Okay, we are. I don't even think we kill the Swift Spear because he gets to draw a card. Yeah, I don't care. We'll just do that. Good luck, buddy. Good luck. Manifold Mouse. Okay. Don't be dumb. It's gonna attack right into my first striker. Reckless Handling. Let's see if we get lucky. Try and spin the dice here. Oh, we did get lucky. Would you look at that? I would like to recommission it, but then we won't have anything to discard. Smash. I would really love to do it. But we shouldn't. We shouldn't. So we'll just do that. We'll play it safe. We'll win next turn. Next turn, we can recommission the monument and have a card to discard to start chaining some things together. Okay. Pass 2 blockers. Do your worst. Do your worst. Frenzy? I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean, you know what? I'm just gonna let that guy die. Who cares? Who cares? I don't care. Harvester of misery. Are you miserable? Guess we do this. As much as I really wanted to recommission that monument, we gotta be smart. We gotta be smart. The Frenzy. Well, we do know that's the last card. Got a couple different options here. Two, 2, 1, 2. I think our best bet is this one. Reckless handling. Guess we just win the old-fashioned way, huh? You know what? We don't want to enlist it. We do not want to enlist it. Discard, draw. And we smack for 2. Discard, draw. Good night. Good night, Sariel. Thanks so much for checking out my channel. I'd like to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons over at Patreon. Without you guys, this channel would not be possible, so honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your contributions. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe. The more likes we get and the quicker we get them, the bigger this channel will grow and the faster it will grow. I'd love nothing more than this channel to become something very special for you guys, but it's entirely up to you how fast that happens. Also, if you'd like more deck text, that's somewhere over there. And if you'd like to see what else the channel's been up to lately, that's somewhere up that way. Also, subscribe, circle below, do all the things.